Hello and thank you for clicking onto us. This is the first in our new series of interviews entitled Digital Democracy. In this series we'll be talking to the Cabinet members of West Sussex County Council, the men and women who actually take the big and final decisions, and we'll be asking them to explain the reasons and thinking behind them. One important decision is the future of the fire and rescue service in West Sussex. And I'm joined on the sofa today by Peter Evans, who's the Cabinet Member for Public Protection. Peter has taken the decision that the proposals for redesigning the service will go ahead. Peter, the whole issue of redesigning the fire service is controversial because, of course, these proposals include either closing or mothballing 3 of the retained stations, Findon, Kemah and Bosham. The Scrutiny Committee that met recently advised you to look at thinking perhaps of mothballing them, but you've made a decision, so what's it going to be, closure or mothballing?
Well, the decision on those 3 fire stations you mentioned is closure.
Why?
We've looked at the economics of actually mothballing them and the security aspects of keeping them as a functioning fire station but empty, and it doesn't stack up. So we've made our decision that we will close those fire stations.
I understand that's going to be closure fairly early in the new year, so they're not going to be operational. Peter, will you be able to sleep in your bed at night if somebody dies in a fire?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I don't take these decisions lightly, and this is one of the biggest decisions we've had to make with fire and rescue. But the whole point of it is that the facts stack up, that these fire stations are in the wrong place. They're actually located in very low risk areas, and what we need to do is we actually concentrate our resource into the higher risk areas, which we will be doing. So the closure of Kemah, Findon and Bosham actually remove those from the scene.
Very strong local feeling about all this, isn't there, and protests. Tell us about those.
Oh, well, it's really fantastic to see the public turning out and supporting their firefighters and the fire and rescue service. But the point of the matter is that the fire stations are not fit for the 21st century. We're looking at a fire service that needs to respond to vulnerable people in high-risk areas. And the areas that they're sitting in at the moment are predominantly low risk and better served by stations very, very close to them. And for example, I give you Findon. Worthing is only just down the road on the A24. It can match all of the response times that Findon has done. It's manned by whole-time crews, and that can cover. And the same applies to the other 2 stations as well.
Now, of course, it's not all about retained stations, is it? There are many other aspects to the plan. Give us a very quick top-line summary of what it entails.
Well, the things that we're rolling out is part-time contracts for firefighters. So if they're a retained firefighter, they can go over to a part-time contract, which increases our resilience. And we're looking at variable crewing systems where we put full-time firefighters actually in during peak time fires. So a retained station will be a full-time station during the peak time when fires occur. And these predominantly are during cooking times, if you like to think of it that way.
Now, there was a consultation which lasted most of the summer about all of this. What did you learn from that?
Well, I learnt that the public feel very, very strongly about their fire service. We received petitions on all of the closures and on other stations as well. And that was debated at full council, so with maximum exposure. I attended a number of the public consultation meetings and the parish meetings, and I was really impressed with the quality of the actual thoughts that were put forward by the members of the public.
Let me give you a thought. It's going to save quite a bit of money doing this, isn't it?
Well, money saving is one of the issues there. It's £1.5 million we're looking to save.
So how do you answer people who say to you, Peter, this is really all about just saving that money, isn't it?
It's a good question. And it's not all about saving money. The whole point of it is to make the fire service 21st century facing. And what that actually means is the fire service hasn't really changed since the 1960s. And this is our chance to increase the actual resilience of the fire service, improve training, improve the stations, and to make the people of West Sussex safer.
Why the emphasis on training?
Training is very important nowadays because we've now got to the stage where properties are better protected with smoke alarms. We've got furniture which doesn't burn and combust like it used to, and firefighters aren't getting real-time fire training, so we need to put in more training to assist them. And the one thing to remember is that fire stations do not save lives. It's the professionalism of the fire crews and the best equipment available which we supply to them.
And on that note, we must leave it. That's it from us. Our Digital Democracy series will return soon with more from Cabinet members who will be asked to account for their decisions. If you'd like to submit a question for a Cabinet member, you can email it in no more than 2 lines, please, to press.office@westsussex.gov.uk, and you can see the address on the screen now. And it may be one of the questions that we feature in future editions of Digital Democracy. Meanwhile, thanks for joining us and goodbye.